You found it. It's the real news with your host, David Knight.
Okay, after the Bundy standoff, and of course, the feds didn't do anything for a couple of years before they arrested anybody. But there was a tragic case in Oregon of the Hammond family. And the federal government had started a wildfire. It was encroaching on their land. They set a backfire to stop that from burning up their ranch, as had happened in the past with many different people. They came after them and charged them with arson and with terror. It's a grievous injustice of what had happened to the Hammond family. And so the people there at the Bundy Ranch, they were encouraged by the fact that their friends and neighbors had stood with them against overreaching federal encroachment and injustice and threats by the federal government. So they decided they would go up there and try to do something about that injustice. The family did not want that. And the community did not stand with them initially. And we felt that it was a big mistake for them to then take over that wildlife refuge. I said that. Alex Jones said that. Many of us said that. Thought that was a very big tactical error. It played into the hands of the mainstream media that wanted to portray them as terrorists, and they weren't terrorists. And they didn't do any damage to that place. And it was a wildlife refuge for watching birds, and it was the middle of winter. But it was very, very bad optics, very, very bad PR. And they continued with that for some time. And then the federal government didn't do anything about that. When it became really dangerous was when the Bundys and Lavoy Finicum began going around and talking to the ranchers and the miners in that area, the loggers, about federal overreach and abuse. And that made them very dangerous. And so on the day that Lavoy Finicum was killed, they were on their way to speak in to a county meeting where the sheriff really was representing the people's interests. And I subsequently went there after Lavoy Finicum was killed and talked to some of the loggers that were there about the abuse, the mismanagement of the federal government. And now we're right up to the commercial break, and I don't have enough time to play this. But let's play a little bit of what happened on that particular day. Let's do video one. This is on the way to the rally. This is footage filmed inside of the car. Give you an idea of what happened. Here's that footage.
You shoot me. I'm going to meet the sheriff. The sheriff is waiting for us. So you do as you damn well please. But I'm not going anywhere. Here I am, right there. Right there, put a bullet through it. You understand? I'm going to go meet the sheriff. You back down or you kill me now. Go ahead, put the bullet through me.
All right, let's hold it right there because we're going to play the rest of that. What they had done is they'd set up a roadblock. They chose to put that roadblock in an area where there was no cell phone footage. There was a very long distance there, and they could have put it anywhere along there, but they chose to put it right there. And as he told them, we're on our way to meet the sheriff. He was not going to be arrested. He was not going to spend his life in prison because we have seen these other individuals in previous trials, the ones who were convicted of a couple of charges, they threw the book plus at them. They're looking at lifetime prison. And so he said, I'm not going to go to prison. And he said, you can shoot me, but I'm not going to get out of this car. I'm going to meet the sheriff, and we're going to play you that astonishing development of events. When we come back, it is something that you have to see. Your government at work. This is what happens when we lose control of law enforcement. I'm David Knight. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm David Knight. We just played a little bit of a teaser of what I'm going to show you next, which is the murder of Lavoy Finicum. You know, as they took over the Malhuer Wildlife area there in Oregon, as I said, they went up there to draw attention to the Hammond family. The Hammond family did not want to fight about that. They took over the wildlife refuge. They were eventually arrested and charged, and a jury found them innocent. They didn't do anything wrong. I mean, it's a public area. They didn't damage anything. They were there during the winter while, bird watching area. But the optics were very bad. And the mainstream media used that to their advantage to demonize the people who were there. However, they were there, and what got dangerous about all of this, they had, as they were staying there at that wildlife refuge, they were making trips on a regular basis to community meetings, talking to people about the way the U.S. Forestry Service or the Bureau of Land Management had been treating them, and about the unconstitutional acts of those organizations. That was very dangerous to the federal government. That's why they set up this roadblock in an area where there was no cell phone coverage, as they were on their way to talk to hundreds of people in an adjacent county. The sheriff was going to be there as well. He was going to be introducing them. And my son went there as a cameraman. Previous to that, had talked to Lavoy Finicum, and he was an individual who was not going to go to jail and spend the rest of his life in jail. Basically, don't fence me in. Kill me, but I'm not going to jail. And so when this roadblock was set up, as they were on their way down to talk to these people, that's what you're going to see here right now. But after this death, I went to the area, and I talked to the people in that county that were going to be going to that meeting. As I said, hundreds of people were going there. Why? Because what was left in that community were the rusted graveyards of the lumber industry, because the federal government had shut off the land to all use. And because they did that, and because of the land policies that you see now by the federal government throughout this country, the mismanagement of the land by these bureaucrats have allowed, as the logger explained, and we'll put that report up on our site as well, they allow massive amounts of deadwood fuel to lay on the ground. And that means that when you have a forest fire, it gets out of control. And in the case of this logger, that fire on public lands, just as we have now seen, even in areas that have a lot of rain, like the Gatlinburg area in Tennessee, the federal mismanagement, the worship almost of natural fires. Oh, this is great. Let's let it burn. And let's leave all this fuel on the ground. That spreads out into these adjacent areas and destroys people's lives, sometimes killing people, but destroying their life's work and destroying, in this particular case, what this logger had saved up his entire life. He'd been a good manager of forest and of trees that were under his private ownership, and that was destroyed by the mismanagement of the federal government. So they were on their way to talk to these people who knew what was going on, and that's what the federal government did not want to see happen. So they set up a roadblock in this area where there was no cell phone coverage. Let's go to that video.
You shoot me. I'm going to meet the sheriff. The sheriff is waiting for us. So you do as you damn well please. But I'm not going anywhere. Here I am, right there. Right there.
He's holding his arms out the window, showing that he's unarmed.
I'm going to go meet the sheriff. You back down or you kill me now. Go ahead.
He said, you can back down or kill me now. And this is cell phone footage taken from inside the vehicle by Shania Cox.
You do as you damn well please.
What for?
Well, I'm going to ask them if they want to go out.
What for? Why are we getting
You want out?
What for?
He's asking the people in the back seat.
Who are you? Yeah, who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
In the car in the back seat is Ryan Bundy, Shania Cox, and a young girl who was,
in Grand County.
I think under 18. She was a singer. She was going to entertain the crowd.
You can go ahead and shoot me. Put the laser right there. Put the bullet through the head. Okay, boys? This is going to get real. You want my blood on your hands? Get it done, because we got people to see and places to go. No, I don't. You need to back off. You need to back off.
Where in the heck is Ammon? They pulled him over.
You shouldn't have ever stopped.
Did Ammon?
You're wasting oxygen, son.
Where they got a...
What? Oh, did they have Ryan? Did they arrest him?
So he asked the people in the back, he said, do you want to get out?
He shouldn't have got out.
Because he's not going to stop this. All right, let's pick up with the next video. What he does is he says, all right, we're going to go. They don't want to get out, so he starts to drive, and let's pick up with that next video.
They got him stopped. He can't get around it. I'm going to go. You guys ready?
Get down.
Then you duck down. Give me that camera. Okay, give me this camera. Go.
All right, so he's driving off. People in the back have ducked down, and they are shooting at him. Right now, the window is down. They're going to roll that window up a little bit so that wind noise is going to disappear. All right, they've rolled the window up.
Keep going.
What about Ammon and those guys?
We can't get around them. I'm going to go get help.
Okay.
Stay down.
Wait, I need to call so I can call as soon as I get service.
Wait up. Yeah, keep watching the phone. See if you can.
But now what they're trying to do is they're trying to call the sheriff, trying to call somebody who can call the sheriff. But of course, they picked this area simply because it doesn't have any cell phone coverage. Going through that area, there's plenty of areas that have cell phone coverage, but they set up this roadblock and the ambush that is coming up in an area where there was no cell phone coverage.
No, mobile network not available.
Do you have numbers for people here in town?
Yeah.
Hey, on.
Okay, so they're shooting.
Now they're shooting at him.
Okay, we're here.
Go ahead and shoot me.
Now they pulled over the car.
Trying to.
They shot at him again.
Stay down. Stay down.
He's got his hands up.
Stay down. Stay down. Stay down.
Shoot me. You have to shoot me.
Damn it. Are they shooting him? Did they shoot him? You assholes. Oh my God!
And of course, you've seen the aerial videos of this, but if you put it in context with this, you understand what is happening. at this point.
Don't get out. Stop it.
Are you hit?
No, hold on. Don't do anything. Don't shooting. Don't do anything. Keep the door shut. Where the hell is
Shooting the
Lavoy?
windows out.
Yeah.
After they murdered Lavoy Finicum, shooting him in the back 3 times, they continued to shoot canisters of tear gas as well as bullets at the passengers who never fired back at them.
Oh, shit.
I think they just
Keep down.
killed the boy.
Did they kill him?
I think they did, and they're shooting over here on this door.
I got hit too.
Okay, hold still.
I don't know. It didn't.
Hold still. Hold still.
All right, and so as we have played that in the past, you can put that video together with the aerial footage that eventually surfaced from there. And the other thing that came out of this was FBI snipers. You know, those snipers that don't exist, that they denied that they had deployed against people at the Bunkerville standoff until it was released by a BLM whistleblower. The hostage rescue team type of people. Same people that shot Randy Weaver's wife right between the eyes at point-blank range while she was armed with a baby, holding a baby in her arms. They also shot into that car. No shots were ever fired outside from the car to anybody else. And they denied that they did that. Now, they had an investigation. They found an FBI agent had done that. I don't know what happened to him other than perhaps a paid vacation, which usually is the response with this. Probably still working for them. I don't think they ever did anything to the FBI hostage rescuer, Lon Horiochi, who shot Randy Weaver's wife, even after they prevailed in court. He's probably still training the other FBI hostage rescuers. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about what this means for you. The smart cities. Yeah, there's some funny stuff coming on, but much of what is being done really isn't funny. We've got some interesting clips of some garbage technology, but there's some very serious stuff underlying the smart cities that are being planned at the Consumer Electronics Show.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.